So then Hey guys, it's Kira. Welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be part 2 of my What I've Been Reading Recently series. It's just 2 videos, I don't know. But if you want to see the first part, I will leave a link to that in the description below. This time I'm going to be talking about all the series that I have either started or finished or just read all of in the last 4 months. So, let's go. The first one I'm going to be talking about is the book Gemina by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. This is the second book in the Illuminate files and was so amazing. I super enjoyed it. I can't really say much about it because it's the second book, but it was so good and I'm super excited for the third book whenever that's coming out. I really enjoyed it. It was super cool. It was weird at first to be reading about different characters because it's different characters than in Illuminate, but it was super fun. I really enjoyed reading that book. The next one I'm going to be talking about is Ink and Bone by Rachel Kane. This is book 1 in the, I don't know what the series is called. I'll put it somewhere on here. But I read this book in the Czech Republic. This was the second book that I brought, which I will tell you about the first book in a minute. And it was okay. It's about a boy whose family trades black market books because owning books is illegal, and so his family kind of smuggles books, but then the boy gets picked to become a librarian, and work at the Great Library. It was, like I said, it was okay. It wasn't a fantastic book, but I enjoyed it solely in the fact that it allowed me to escape from my responsibilities of helping run the camp that I was at while in Czech. It was just a good escape. It was a good place to let me just clear my head and be alone for a few hours each day. So I enjoyed that aspect of it, but it was just kind of like an okay book, and I don't think I will be continuing on in the series. Next up we have the Chaos Walking trilogy by Patrick Ness. This trilogy is so amazing. I can't even tell you how great these books were. So the first book is The Knife of Never Letting Go, and I read this book while I was in Czech, and it ended on a huge cliffhanger, and I was so upset that I had to wait to get the second book because it was just the biggest cliffhanger, and I was in a foreign country and couldn't get the second book. So that's my experience with that. I finished the trilogy when I got to college, and I immediately told my friend about that and made her read it, and so now she's in the middle of the second book and she's also loving it, and I'm just so excited. The Knife of Never Letting Go takes place in a dystopian world in which there are no women, and all the men have thoughts that you can hear, and this thing called noise, and it's just constantly there, and you can hear everybody's thoughts. So our main character, Todd Hewitt, is 12, he's almost 13, he's almost a man in this town, and he finds a pocket of no noise. And he's never had that before, and so the story continues from there. I don't want to tell you too much, but it's just so cool. So the books are The Knife of Never Letting Go, The Ask and the Answer, and Monsters of Men. And they're all super amazing. The second book definitely leads up to the third book, but it ends in such, the whole series ends in a huge, I don't even know how to describe this thing. It's actually also becoming a movie with Tom Holland and Daisy Ridley and Nick Jonas. So, keep on the lookout for that. I believe it's coming out in 2019. Yeah, be on the lookout for news about that. And the last series I want to talk about is Blackout All Clear by Connie Willis. This is a duology, and I don't even know how to classify it. But it takes place in 2060, where time travel exists, and it's about 3 historians who go back to World War II in 1940 and end up getting stuck. And the story is so intricate. There are so many details that you have to pay attention to when trying to figure out what's going on sometimes. So sometimes it can be confusing, especially because there are a couple characters introduced that you're not quite sure how they fit in to the narrative of the 3 main historians. But everything comes together beautifully. They are so wonderful. I love them so much. I think it was my mom who first read them and then told everybody to read them, and I think most of my family has. They're just super, super cool. There's a lot. I don't know how accurate it is when it comes to World War II, but I know that Connie Willis did a lot of research in creating these books, and they're so good. This was a reread for me as well. I actually listened to them on audiobook this time. The audiobooks are narrated by Katherine Kellgren, who also does the voice of Sadie Kane in the Kane Chronicles audiobook series by Rick Riordan. And she does such an amazing job. She has different voices for different characters. And it's interesting because when you listen to the audiobook, there are certain characters that pop up that you know who they are. You can kind of piece together who they are based on the voices that she uses. So, the audiobooks are super splendid. I listened to Blackout and the beginning of All Clear throughout the summer when I had practices for cheerleading in Green Bay. I had to make the drive like every 2 weeks, and it's 3 hours away from my house. So I had 3 hours there and 3 hours back. And most of the time I was by myself, so I listened to quite a lot of the audiobooks. The downside is the books are so long that the audiobook for All Clear was 20 discs, and it was so long. But so worth it. I love those books so much, and I think they're very underappreciated and should get more love. So that concludes all of the books that I have read in the last 4 months. Feels like forever, and it feels like I've read a ton, but also haven't read a ton at the same time. I'm kind of in a reading slump right now. I don't really know what I want to read. Also, I just want to watch YouTube videos because I just finished Stranger Things. And it's interesting because Stranger Things is definitely not something that I thought I would get into because I don't like scary movies. I hate horror. I hate scary things. And I get nightmares from things decently easily. So I didn't think I was going to watch them. But there was so much hype surrounding season 2 coming out that I was like, okay, I'm going to try it. So I watched season 1 in like the week before season 2 came out. Yeah, I finished it, and then I had to wait a week for season 2, which was good timing on my part because then I didn't have to wait like a whole year like a lot of people did for season 2. And then the Friday that season 2 came out, the only thing I had going on was I had one class, and I was like, okay, I don't have any homework that absolutely needs to get done. I just need to study for a couple of tests. So I'll spend Friday just watching it, and then I will study on Saturday and Sunday. Totally fine. So I watched probably 2 episodes, and then I checked my email, and I have an email from my professor who's like, sorry for the late notice, but class has been canceled. And I was like, yes! So I literally spent all day of Friday, October 27th, binge watching season 2, finished it that day, was like 9 hours of TV, but it was so worth it. So, super long tangent, needless to say, Stranger Things is amazing. Season 1, I would say, is much scarier in the fact that you don't know what the creature is, like what the bad guy really is. There's a lot more like suspense with that. But in season 2, you know kind of what the creature bad guy is, and it's just figuring out how to deal with it. So I think I liked season 2 better. There's also so much character development in season 2, which I loved. It was so good. No spoilers, I promise, but if you go on my Twitter, there probably will be spoilers because I'm really bad at that. But speaking of Twitter, if you want to follow me on Twitter, my username is KiraSKickinReads, and I also am on Goodreads, and I have an email. So if you'd like to contact me or follow me on any of that stuff, feel free to do so. So that is it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!